In earlier videos, we looked at bringing data in from Excel, and we brought in two Excel files, a sheet called Customers and a sheet called Orders. So we have two queries in our queries pane. But now let's say I want to bring in some data from a database, maybe an Access database. For this, I'm going to click on New Source, and I'm going to go for More. And the idea here is a complete list of types of data that I can import is listed. And here it is here. So I can bring in text files, I can bring in PDF files, I can bring in SharePoint folders. And what I'd like to do is bring in Access Database. So I click on Access Database and I click Connect. Now I have to find my file, and here it is here. It's a database called Northwind. So I click the Open button. The connection is then made, and the navigator will eventually turn up, and I'll be able to navigate between the various sources in this database. So in this database, I first of all can see there's a variety of queries that I could import, and further down, looking at this little symbol, there's a variety of tables I can import. Now I'd like to bring in the orders table, but I'd also like to bring in all the tables that are related to this table, because it's a relational database. So I'm going to click this button to select related tables. It'll take a little moment, but it will actually look at the orders table, look at the database relationships, and work out what other tables are actually related. And those tables will also appear ticked in this list in the navigator. So it's still generating those ticks, so we'll just let it do that. What I see now is not only have I got the orders table selected, but the related table include customers, employees, order details, and shippers. Now I'd also like to bring in the products table, so I'll give that a click, and I want to bring in any tables that are related to the products table, so I tick or click select related tables. And so here it's basically effectively selected all the tables in this database. So I'll click the OK button. Oh, hang on, I just want to grab one more thing. 10 most expensive products. That's a query. I'd also like to bring that query in as well, and then I'll click OK. This will then allow me to see on the left hand side of my list of queries that I now have 12 queries. 2 of them have the same names, orders and customers. So the customer spreadsheet and the orders spreadsheet, there happens to be a table in the Access database called orders as well, and customers as well. So to save issues with conflicting names, query names, it's actually just stuck a 2 on the end, and we'll look at how we can resolve that in a later video. Now something else I want to do is bring in a text file or a CSV file. So in my Power Query editor, I'm going to go back to New Source. This time I'm just going to choose the option Text or CSV. Here I choose the file I want, so I've got a product subcategory CSV file, and I'll click Open. Eventually I'll see this, and it's basically just showing me all the data that's in that CSV file based on the first 200 rows, so I'll click OK. I'd like to rename this particular query, so using the query settings over the side here, I'm just going to take out this current name and put by products. Oops. By month. And enter, and I can see that change carry over here. Now what I'd like to do is get some more data, but instead of importing an Excel file or a text file or an Access database, I want to create it inside of Power Query. So the whole idea here is we hit this button called Enter Data. I'll bring this window into view. Column 1, I'm just going to click that and then double click it and call it Name. If I hit this plus here, I can add another column, and if I double click its heading, column 1, I can call it Phone. In here I want to add a record, Kathy Barker, and I want to put a phone number in. To add another row, I just hit this plus, and I'll type in Sue Jones and her phone number. To name this table, I'll go down the bottom here and just call it volunteers list. And I'll add some more data later. I'll choose OK. So I've created now a table or a query. It appears as my 13th one, called volunteers list on the left-hand side. And that one I used the enter data button. So you can bring in data from Excel, from text files, from the web, and from all sorts of sources. But you can also create your own table inside a Power Query using the enter data button.